Hello everybody and welcome to another Shift video. I know it's been a while. In the world that we're living in at the moment, there are storms raging for every Christian, I believe. There are so many fearful fronts coming toward us, and we're all doing our very, very best to stay within our confines of peace before the Lord. But it's difficult. It is one of the most difficult things in the world to remain in your quiet time, remain in your prayer, remain focused on Jesus when everything is going wrong, when you're filled with fear, uncertainty, worry. And we know as Christians what we should be doing, that we shouldn't be worrying, that we should hand it over to Jesus, but it is exceptionally difficult. So today's shift video, I want us to shift our comprehension. Let's shift our comprehension of who God is and what He's going to do. And one of the things that nail us deeply in our hearts when we consider the fact that we are straying from God because of our worry and our concern, and we're becoming distracted, is that how many times will God understand when we come back and say, I'm scared? Will He look at us and go, well, yeah, you're scared now because, and that's why you're coming to me, and that's why you want me? No, God doesn't do that. I'm looking at the book of Nehemiah, and chapter 9 is a massive chapter, not so much that it is long or big, but in respect of what it tells us in regards to this. Nehemiah, if you're not sure, went and rebuilt the wall of Israel because he felt it was what God told him to do. And as he's rebuilding the wall and he's completed the work, he now brings everybody together and he prays to God about this. And in this prayer, he is discussing the fact that the Jews are stiff-necked people, that they were in the desert. God saves them from Egypt. They're in the desert and they keep complaining and they come back to God and whatnot. And if you look at it, I was looking at that chapter, 1, 2, 3, 4 occasions he speaks of the fact that they turned away from God. In fact, the first time he says, but they, our forefathers, became arrogant and stiff-necked and did not obey your commands. Then in verse 26, but they were disobedient and rebelled against you. They put your law behind their backs. They killed your prophets and that had admonished them. Then again it says, but as soon as they were at rest, they again did what was evil in your sight, but then you abandoned them to the hand of their enemies. Again it says, you warned them to return to your law, and they became arrogant and disobeyed your commands. That's 4 times, but that's 4 times with a filler that I'm excluding. And here are the 4 fillers that I'm excluding. After each time the admonition comes that the Jewish people moved away, it says this, but you are a forgiving God, gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and abounding in love. Therefore you did not desert them, even when they cast themselves an image of a gold calf and said, this is your God. The next filler, it says, but when they were oppressed, they cried out to you from heaven, and you heard them, and in your great compassion you gave them deliverers who rescued them from the hand of their enemies. The next filler, and when they cried out to you again, you heard from heaven, and in your compassion you delivered them time after time. And lastly, but in your great mercy you did not put an end to them or abandon them, for you are a gracious and merciful God. Now that is just snippets of what the full prayer is, and I would urge you to go and read that prayer that Nehemiah prays. But what I want you to take joy in is this, and take confidence in this, is yes, we may rush back to God on our knees after being distracted, after having not prayed, after having not counseled with Him because of the distraction of worry and concern. But I don't want one of those worries for you to be that God's going to go, well, you know what, I've had enough of you now. He is a great, compassionate, and loving and forgiving God, and He will attend to your cries time after time. Lastly, just try and remember this, however. Let's have some critical thinking. When Nehemiah starts this prayer, he reads as follows in chapter 9, and this is from verse 5. It says, blessed be your glorious name, and may it be exalted above all blessing and praise. Please remember that the blessing you're looking for, God's name, should be exalted above all blessing, including the blessing that you're wanting. And therefore we must exalt him always, no matter what happens, when it happens, how it happens. And I would urge you that if you are distracted from your quiet time, from prayer, if you're not coming before the Lord because of fear and concern and worry, or because other things were taking priority, please come back to your quiet time, come back to your prayer. But if you have come back to him and you're now worrying that this is maybe just self-indulgent and now you're only coming back to God because you're scared, understand that he is a compassionate and loving and merciful God, and he will attend to your cries time after time. Let's shift our comprehension. Till next time, brothers and sisters, speak to you soon. God be with you. I'm praying for you. Goodbye.